Oh, guys, politicians, you see, politics, just don't play it with your emotions, especially with the supporters of any of the party. Because these people, they have their interests, they know what they are looking for. Now, the news reaching us is that Peter B, Kwakwaso, and Atiku, they are trying to form, like they are trying to merge, to form one body. Now, do you see this thing being possible? Or do you see it not being possible? Because now, Atiku is a figurehead in PDP. Kwankwaso is a figurehead in NNPP. Peter B is a figurehead in Labour Party. So who will step down for each other? Well, we'll watch as it goes until they finalize. We'll see how it will pan out. Meanwhile, let's listen to this analysis, all right?
America's Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, was attending a press conference as regards if there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And the journalist asked him that pointed question. And Donald Rumsfeld replied by saying, there are some known knowns and there are some known unknowns. And let me further it by saying there are some unknown unknowns. Concerning this matter, there are some known knowns. What are the first known knowns? The fact that all politicians are the same in Nigeria, and they look for where their interest lies. And when their interest lies, they can coalesce. So it's never a deep feeling on animus between all of them. I'll give you an instance. Prior to this time, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not ready to do a deal with Buhari. But when he saw that their interests could align, it could be his path to presidency, they coalesced, they did a deal together. And they add some flitterings of PDP into the deal and APGA. They formed the APC. That's a known. So for a deal like this being on the table, it is possible it can happen. It's a known. Because all their interests are coming together. And please, don't be too emotional about politicians. They are all the same. I kid you not. The same Kwakwaso that at first went to meet with Bola Tinubu once the administration started. I'm sure probably because he didn't get a good deal there. So the next thing, he looks for another bidder. Pure and simple. Everybody does it. The same Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. That was at some point very good allies with Muhammadu Buhari. Ran against him in 2019. So why do you hold politicians to heart so much? Those are known knowns. Known unknown will be, we don't know how this will pan out. And let's not deceive ourselves. Because these same three people, the Chinese have a saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. 20 years ago, which was before the last election, why didn't they come together? Ego played a major role. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar thought he could get it for himself. Peter Obi thought with the obedient movement he could nick it. Kwakwaso thought he could nick it. If you ask these three men who won the election, they will say we did. So why do you deceive yourself too much about politicians? But they couldn't come together. This same Kwakwaso that couldn't make a deal with Obi leading up to the last election, that talks broke down. All of a sudden, they want to coalesce efforts. So we don't know how this will pan out. We don't know who they are going to put forward as president. Would their ego allow them? Would Atiku Abubakar say, oh, you don't know, I might be how many times lucky now on the next stroke. So let me go. Because that was how they made the argument in the PDP. That, he's the only one that has electoral value. Others didn't, Abi. As against the zeitgeist of the nation that was talking about, let power go to the south. We don't know if Kwakwaso will want to say, I'm the king of Kano. I can take Kano. And some other northern states will be able to vote for me. We don't know if Peter Obi will say, me and my obedient movement, we can make change happen. So there are some things we don't know. We don't know how this will pan out. But unknown will be, in all of this, the average Nigerian person does not know where the next meal will come from. The average Nigerian person does not know what future holds for them. The average Nigerian person does not know what will befall his fortunes. The even average Nigerian rich man does not know. Maybe another devaluation will happen to the currency that he will become poorer than he was yesterday. The average Nigerian company does not know what will happen to their fortunes next. Maybe, rather than thinking of the known about our politician, it's time to start thinking of the unknown. I rest my case.
All right. Well, Rufai, you said that. I just wanted to point out something. You said that out of the three of them, they all thought they won. I don't think Kwakwaso would think that he. I don't think so. I think no, he's not even. He didn't even bother going to court. So let's just
they will reply you.
let me just say that.
They will reply you.
All right. In terms of a merger, you both said it all, and let me just chip in a few things as well with regards to at the end of the day, as we have said and emphasized a number of times, don't die in their war. It's interests at the end of the day. When interests align, then politicians then find out that they're able to work together. Recall that just immediately after the announcement, during the collation actually, before the announcement of the results during the elections, PDP and Labour Party held a joint press conference, and there were already conversations around what has, where is that coming from? And a number of their supporters who were, especially from the Obedient movement, had said, no, we don't want anything to do with the old, so why are we having even a joint press conference to address concerns with regards to the process of election, the process of INEC's process in terms of the collation and announcement of results. So there was already an indication that it wasn't off the tables for conversations to still be had. Also, we remember that Mr. Peter Obi was in the PDP before he then moved on to go on to the Labour Party and become the presidential flag bearer of that party. And so we have new ideas, we had a very strong movement with regards to the obedience. But in all of this, whether they are having mergers, conversations, coming together, who is stepping down for who, I hope we don't lose the momentum, especially with regards to the young people who want a change, so that at the end of the day, no matter what emerges from this conversation, the people still recognize that the office of the citizen is the most important and the most powerful office, or should be, let me put it that way, the most powerful office in the land. And so the people should put their interests first and make demands, come to the table. You see how politics works. It's not just about, I'm sticking to my guns, I'm not going to do it. When it comes to it, they will come together and have conversations, and they will agree. If it doesn't align, they will go back again to throwing stones at each other if it doesn't work out. Because as has already been identified, it seemed as if the NNPP was coming to some sort of agreement or arrangement with the APC. In fact, there were talks around perhaps, Mr. Kwakwaso getting some appointments in this particular administration. So when that didn't happen, he's going to pitch his tent, and hopefully one positive thing we could possibly get out of this, out of the others, is a strong opposition which Nigeria's democracy has lacked. PDP as an opposition party in the last 8 years, not very strong, because everyone is looking out for themselves. So in terms of holding government to account, in terms of practicing strong opposition in democracy, hasn't really seen the light of day. I'm hoping that there would be a formidable team that would, even if not at this time get into power, if they do, it would be determined by the courts and the people. But if they don't, they would be able to hold the administration and the government to account, and we'll begin to see things work in our favor. It is very important. The people must have their say at the table. Very critical. In the coming days, we'll see what the merger and the talks, the unknowns, would begin to know. Those, whether it's going to happen or how it will emerge, who would be the frontliner, who would be the flag bearer. But at the end of the day, Project Nigeria is what we're interested in. And we must remember that all the mudslingings, all the violence, whether verbal or actual, on behalf of these stakeholders has to be with sense. It is interests. Nigerians must fight for Nigeria in terms of holding on for Nigeria and not fighting in their war.